How to read people's true intentions without asking. I used to think people meant what they said. Then I learned, they don't. They say what sounds right, what feels safe, what protects their image in the group. But what they want, what they're really after, is buried under layers. So how do you see through it, without asking? You start by watching what they protect. Because people guard what they value. If someone always redirects when asked about money, it's not random. They might fear being judged. Or, they use wealth as leverage in power games. That silence speaks louder than words. The things people won't talk about tell you more than what they do. That's the first layer of human nature psychology. It's not about words. It's about the dance they do to protect their mask. And it shows in small ways. They look away too fast. They over-explain simple things. They laugh at the wrong moments. That's not social awkwardness. That's data. Micro-expressions are not random glitches. They're survival instincts leaking through the surface. Especially when someone's trying to manipulate the scene. See, most people don't lie with words. They lie with timing. They pause too long before a compliment. Or they answer too quickly when accused. They hesitate in a way that says, I'm choosing what's safe to say, not what's true. That's the essence of reading people. You're not looking for facts. You're looking for the game they're trying to win. Power dynamics are everywhere. In every room, every group, every innocent conversation. Someone's trying to rise, someone's trying to hold position, someone's trying not to sink. Once you start asking, what position is this person trying to protect? Everything changes. Take a workplace, for example. Someone keeps interrupting you in meetings. You could get offended, or you could decode. Are they trying to gain status? Are they insecure about your presence? Are they mirroring a boss who does the same? This is game theory in real life. Every move reveals the player's strategy. Even silence is a strategy. Especially in office politics. When someone says nothing while watching you struggle, they might not be neutral. They could be waiting, letting you burn social credit, so they can rise later without lifting a finger. That's not cold. That's the survival mindset at work. And if you don't see it, you become a pawn in their game. Reading people isn't about being cynical. It's about seeing what's already there. Because most people don't even realize they're playing games. It's unconscious. They were trained by pain, rejection, or fear to seek certain reactions, avoid certain truths, defend certain masks. And the more emotionally intelligent they seem, the harder it is to spot their real motives. Because they've learned how to perform authenticity. They say the right things. They mirror your tone. They know the unspoken social rules. But underneath that smile, they're measuring what to show you and what to hide. Especially manipulators. They don't force. They nudge. They don't attack. They suggest. They don't ask for what they want. They create situations where you offer it. Watch how they set traps wrapped in praise. I could never do what you do. Sounds flattering, until you realize they're positioning you to take the fall later. That's one of the oldest manipulation tactics. Build you up, so they can blame you when it breaks. So how do you protect yourself? You learn to read intentions by tracking inconsistencies. When someone's words and actions don't match, believe the action. If they say they care, but disappear when you need them, they don't care. If they praise your work, but never support it in front of others, they're not on your side. This is where street smart skills matter. Not the fake confidence kind, but the kind that notices who shows up only when the spotlight is on. The kind that remembers who suddenly shifts tone when higher-ups enter the room. People adjust behavior to match who they want approval from. That's how you find out who they're really loyal to. Watch for these pivots. They're windows into the hierarchy they respond to. That's what social hierarchy explained really means. It's not about titles or org charts. It's about who gets protected when things go wrong. Who gets blamed when no one's looking. Who everyone tries to impress without being told. Once you see that layer, you stop getting emotionally hijacked. Because you realize, most social pain isn't personal. It's structural. It's about people playing roles to survive. Even betrayal often isn't about you. It's about their need to avoid shame, loss, or status drop. That doesn't make it okay, but it makes it predictable. And that's power. Knowing what people are likely to do before they do it. That's how you win in life. Not by controlling others, but by reading the game faster than they expect. And adjusting, without revealing your next move. That's Muta 1. That's the real edge in a world where emotions are data. And every interaction is a test of your social survival skills. Because the people who win in silence are the ones who stop reacting. They observe. They collect patterns. They notice who gossips only when certain people leave, who suddenly switches energy when a new person enters the room, who's overly nice right before they ask for something. Once you stop reacting, you start reading. That's when power dynamics reveal themselves. People start to show their playbook. Because they think you're not watching. But you are. You're watching how they respond to loss. How they act when they don't get what they want. That's when their mask slips. When someone is denied access, and they punish you for it with silence, withdrawal, or gossip. You've just seen their real intention. It was never connection. It was access. And when that's gone, so are they. That's psychological manipulation in disguise. It doesn't come with a warning label. It comes wrapped in compliments. It feels like friendship until you stop being useful. Then it turns cold. If you're not ready to be dropped the moment your utility fades, you're not ready for most social games. That's why emotional intelligence isn't about being kind all the time. It's about being clear. Clear on what people want. Clear on your own boundaries. Clear on what you'll no longer tolerate just to be liked. Because being liked is the most expensive drug in social environments. It makes you blind to intent. It makes you second guess your gut. It makes you say yes when you should be walking away. That's not kindness. That's self-erasure. And once you erase yourself enough times, you forget how to spot when you're being used. So how do you rebuild that sense? You start small. Track when your body tenses around someone. Notice the drop in energy after certain conversations. Pay attention to how often you need to explain yourself to someone who keeps twisting your words. These aren't random red flags. They're data points, social X-rays. They show you who drains your power and who gives it back. People who mean well won't make you feel like you're walking on eggshells. They won't test your loyalty in secret games. They won't bait you into drama then disappear when things explode. Because they're not here to win. They're here to build. That's how you separate real from performance. Intent doesn't hide forever. It leaks. In moments of stress. In moments of silence. In how someone treats you when no one else is watching. And that's where the truth lives. In the gap between the performance and the pattern. Some people are kind because it's safe. Others are kind because it's real. You'll feel the difference. One makes you shrink. The other makes you breathe. One makes you question yourself. The other makes you hear yourself again. That's the compass. That's your survival mindset tuning back in. Because you're no longer trying to read people just to defend yourself. You're doing it to see. To see who they are without their script. To see the invisible hand behind their choices. To stop falling for pretty words and start decoding silent power moves. This is how you stop being shocked when people flip. This is how you stop losing sleep over betrayals that were always in the script. This is how you stop playing roles you were never meant to play. Just to keep peace in a game that was never yours to begin with. Because if you don't learn to read people's intentions, you end up writing stories that don't match their actions. You end up staying in places where your presence is a transaction. You end up giving your loyalty to people who are loyal to the game, not to you. And the cost of that? Is years of your life. Energy you'll never get back. Opportunities missed while you were trying to prove your worth to someone who already made up their mind. That's the real danger. Not manipulation, but unawareness. Not malice, but misreading the game. You don't have to be paranoid. You just have to be awake. Because once you are, no one can sell you peace while feeding off your confusion. No one can fake their way into your circle without you noticing the cracks. No one can dress control as care, without you naming it for what it is. That's the shift. That's Muta 1 in motion. Not louder, not faster, just clearer, quieter, sharper, until one day you look around and realize most of what used to hurt was never personal. It was just misread signals in a game you didn't know you were playing. And now? Now you know the game. You see the field. You've stopped explaining your feelings to people committed to misunderstanding them. You've stopped hoping for honesty from players who trade in confusion. You've stopped reacting and started responding. That's the moment everything flips. When you realize the power isn't in knowing what people say. It's in sensing what they hide and choosing not to dance for it anymore.